Going on, guys? I really can't be fucked today, but this weekend's UFC card is absolutely stacked to the roof, so I'm just going to give my predictions on the top 3 fights on the main card. Let's do this. Okay, so first fight I'm going to talk about is the debut of Ben Askren versus former champion Ruthless Robbie Lawler. This fight's pretty obvious, striker versus grappler sort of match. For those who haven't seen Ben Askren, he's very much like Khabib. He's just looking for that takedown. Thing about him is he isn't one of those guys who's just going to take you down and lay on top of you. When he gets on top of you, he will try to punch a hole in your face. So he does look for the finish when he's on the ground. Lawler, for me, has not looked great, I don't think, since he lost his title to Woodley. I mean, he had that win against Tyron, which is a pretty close decision from memory. And obviously, Rafael dos Anjos really looked like he owned Lawler in that fight, in his last fight, sorry. So really going to be interesting to see how Lawler looks coming back after that loss. For me, look, Ben Askren, I've seen him fight. For those who don't know or haven't seen him fight, he spent a lot of his time in Asia fighting in ONE FC. He was the Bellator champ as well. I specifically remember this one fight of Ben Askren that I watched him in ONE FC, where he really struggled. I can't remember the guy he fought, but he really struggled to take this guy down, and this guy was hitting him a lot while defending the takedowns. Ben really wasn't winning this fight from memory, and I believe the fight ended strange, like it was a no contest. It might have been like an eye poke or a low blow or something like that. I really can't remember, but I always have that fight in my head. So I don't know, they may have had a rematch and Ben Askren dominated the rematch, but I just remember that fight where I saw Ben Askren struggle. So that's always going to be on my head. It's going to be interesting. I don't quite off the top of my head remember how good Lawler's takedown defense is. I mean, I'm sure it's good, but I feel like in his fights against Johnny Hendricks that Hendricks did take him down a few times. So if Hendricks can take down Lawler, I mean, Ben Askren can absolutely take down Lawler. Now, if Lawler can keep the fight on the feet, it's really his for the taking. However, Ben Askren is the type of guy, he's just going to keep looking for that takedown, looking for it over and over and over until he gets it. So for me, it's going to be quite interesting. I'm going to have to go with Ben Askren on this one. Just for me, he's just that guy. I mean, unless you knock him out, he's probably going to take you down and just grind you out or beat the crap out of you on the ground. But Lawler absolutely has what it takes to finish someone like Ben Askren. I think Ben Askren has really not been truly tested, I don't believe. He's definitely had some good fights against guys who have some names, but Robbie Lawler is by far the best guy he's ever going to fight, or has ever fought, sorry. So yeah, for me this one, I'm going to have to go with Askren. Look, I like Robbie Lawler as much as the next guy, but I just believe I've counted too many times on a guy getting a knockout, and that hasn't happened. So I'm going to go with Askren on this one, but we'll see what happens. Alright, so the co-main event is Woodley versus Usman for the welterweight title. I'm not huge on the Usman train. Like, he's never really impressed me that much. I mean, that big knockout I remember he got, I mean, it was against a jiu-jitsu guy who really doesn't have a lot of, good strikes anyway. I remember he struggled against that, what's his name, Emil Meek or whatever it was. I thought he really struggled in that fight too. I feel like Usman, in fights where he can't get the takedown, is going to struggle, especially against the guy like Woodley, who is going to knock your fucking face off if you can, if he hits you. Usman's striking looked a lot better in his last fight against dos Anjos. I mean, that was probably the first fight he really impressed me. However, I believe it's just because dos Anjos was just so scared of that takedown the whole time. He just couldn't really get loose and let his hands go. But Usman did. His hands looked much better and much more confident in his last fight. But look, just like Woodley has said in interviews this week, he really doesn't see any areas that scare him from Usman, and I totally agree. I mean, Usman really is reliant on his wrestling, and Woodley has just got that shit covered. If Woodley keeps this fight on the feet, Usman's going to be in a lot of trouble, because he is absolutely a better striker than Usman, and as we've all seen, Woodley can knock anybody out. I've counted out Woodley so many times. Pretty much every single one of his title defenses, I keep counting him out. I just cannot deny that guy anymore. He proves me wrong over and over and over again. He's absolutely a champion of the sport. I mean, Darren Till is so new to the sport, but everyone thought he was going to beat Woodley, including me. And man, did Woodley show us. He's like, told you so, motherfuckers. So yeah, no, good on Woodley. I'm a big fan of Woodley, actually, from his past fights. I actually didn't find his fights against Wonderboy Thompson or Damian Maia boring. I mean, it takes a lot for me to find a fight really boring. I mean, Ngannou versus Derek Lewis, I mean, I'll give you that. That was a pretty boring fight. But those fights like Damian Maia versus Woodley or Woodley versus Thompson, for me, that's edge of your seat sort of stuff. You know, even though not a lot happens, you're sort of on the edge of your seat just waiting for that thing to happen, because as soon as Maia gets the takedown or as soon as someone lands that shot, you know, it's on. Gonna have to go with Woodley on this one without a doubt. I mean, I'm very confident that Woodley's going to get the win, and I'm hoping that he actually gets the knockout in this one, because I'm just not huge on Usman. Alright, so the main event is challenger Anthony Smith versus obviously John Bones Jones. I mean, it's pretty given this one. Everyone is not giving Anthony Smith a chance at all. I remember when Anthony Smith, I can't remember if he's had 2 stints in the UFC or not, but I just remember his most recent time when he came back, if it was his second stint, thinking, man, this guy's had so many fucking fights. Like, this guy's been around, so he's absolutely a veteran of the sport. There's probably not a lot he hasn't seen. He's absolutely been outmatched before. I mean, he kind of struggled at middleweight, which is why I think a lot of people aren't really giving him a lot of credit at light heavyweight. And look, to be honest, knocking out guys like Shogun and Rashad really don't mean a lot in, 2018 when he did it. His last fight against Ozdemir, however you say it, what's his name? No Time. Was very impressive. I mean, he took a lot of big shots. He looked like he was going to lose that fight, hung in there, you know, toughed it out, came back and got a submission. I mean, no one would have thought he was going to win by submission in that fight. So all credit to Anthony Smith. He's going to this fight with nothing to lose. So if he goes in with that mentality, I mean, that's going to be obviously his best chance. John Bones, on the other hand, is, considered the greatest of all time, or one of the greatest of all time. Absolutely in the skill department, he's just has Anthony Smith's number. But look, I said in my last video, my GSP video, that Jones, I feel like he's going to get clipped one day with the perfect shot, and he's going to be on Wobble Street. We haven't seen that before. Anthony Smith can absolutely knock out anybody. So it should be interesting. Jones really has to go in there and fight a calculated fight. I think Jones really has to go in there and try to finish this fight as quickly as possible. Look, if I had to put money on it, I'm obviously going to put it on John Jones, but I'm just saying, don't count out Lionheart. Anthony Smith is dangerous. He's a fairly big dude as well, but John Jones, skill for skill, is, by far a better fighter. So John Jones for me. Anyway, that's my predictions for this week. What am I so far? I think I'm like 3-1 so far in my predictions, so we'll see. I think those losses are probably just going to keep going up and up, but we'll see what happens. I hope you enjoy the fights this weekend, and keep watching my videos, motherfuckers.